fun. I mean, it's up to me. I just love being here, and I just want to fight. That's what I love to do. So I don't care. I prefer to be the first fight of the night, and I don't care who else is on the card. I just love to fight, and it makes no difference who else fights because I got to focus on my fight solely and not on anybody else. And that's the most important thing, I'm here to have fun, and that's all I'm going to do.
Last one for me. I mean, obviously you're excited to be there. They're in Abu Dhabi in this case, so the timing of the fight a little interesting. You're going to be fighting pretty early. Are you doing anything to adjust for the timing of the bout?
We worked out in the morning, early in the mornings, but we always do that in the Netherlands anyway. And there's only a 2-hour difference, so it's not that much of a big of a deal. It's different because you're fighting early, and so you're going to punch each other in the face, and then afterwards you're going to have breakfast instead of a beer. You got to wait whole day to drink a beer. That's the whole difference. You're gonna. It's weird if you think about it. I mean, I'm gonna punch you in the face. You're gonna punch me in the face, and then I'm gonna have some breakfast. It's pretty weird, but I love the idea. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You're awake. When somebody punches you or try to punch you in the face or try to shoot for your legs, you will be awake. Trust me.
All right, well, enjoy the fight. Best of luck. Enjoy the post-fight breakfast and eventually the beer.
Thank you so much.
Our next question is from Hauzi Fan with PP Sports.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Of course, the Lion Lady hears everything, right? So it was pretty. So I have 3 questions for you. The first one is pretty chill, and it was so funny to look at your Instagram account about that makeup, that makeup video. Was that how the Iron Lady killed times during the quarantine besides daily training?
Can you repeat that question again? It really didn't come through that well. I'm sorry.
All right, so sorry about that. The signal here in China is not exactly great. So it was really funny to look at your Instagram account about that makeup video. Yeah, and I love it. Was that how the Iron Lady killed time during the quarantine? Or besides your daily training?
I don't take life that serious, honestly. So I just try to have fun and act crazy, and I always do that with my training partner Lizzie. We're just crazy. Just consider us crazy, not normal. And, it's all about having fun, and exactly, we had to go through 48 hours of quarantine time. So we did some TikTok movies, and, I did just a fun makeup video. But just to be clear to everybody, because a lot of people think it was my real makeup. It was a filter. It was a Snapchat filter. Guys, chill. I don't do makeup like that.
Yeah, the Chinese fans absolutely love it. So the second question, the Chinese is from some fans actually. So acknowledging you as the first women's featherweight champion of the world, do you still get that itch to get your belt back?
Well, I tried to get another belt back, but in one way or another way, it's not about getting the belt back because nobody took that belt from me from then the UFC. I didn't lose that belt. They took it from me, and if I get another shot at a title shot, I'll take it full-hearted, and if not anytime soon, I'm okay with that too, I'm not in control over that. The thing is, what I'm in control over is put up a great performance and make a statement and do what I love to do and share my love with other people that love MMA. So I'm blessed anyway, title shot or no title shot.
Well, that's very generous of you. So I believe the fans are really thrilled to hear that. So the final question for me is, following the Dana White's conference pretty soon, which mentioned Zhang Weili, the Chinese champion. So from a champion to another, is there anything you want to say to her about the title fights, as well as other Chinese female fighters?
Well, the only thing I can say to her is keep doing what you do, because what she does is great. And she did a great thing for not only women's MMA in China, for MMA in China in general. I mean, she's a great champion, and she is a true champion, and I love seeing her fight, and I'm really looking forward to see her fight again, and I wish her the best of luck in her career, and I'm just stunned to see her fight soon.
So thank you very much. We wish you have a great victory tomorrow, and the Chinese fans want to see it absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cateside Press.
Germaine, just to clean up with a few other questions, out of curiosity, would you be able to fight in Vegas if necessary, or are you only able to fight on Fight Island right now with travel restrictions?
To be honest, I think we're able to fight in Las Vegas. I think so. Even though everything has been sharpened down, or right now everything gets more sharper, and I don't know if I'm able to. I don't know if I'm able to fight, but if I'm able to fight, I would go. Yeah, okay with me. I don't care.
I know this may sound a bit redundant because obviously it's your profession and you go into it, but we hear you and you talk about your experience working as a police officer and you're being exposed to COVID and you're going through this. I mean, I'm sure you can make being a UFC fighter work for you. Why do you continue to put yourself through that then, at a crazy time like this?
If I could actually live from this, I would maybe do it. No, I don't get paid enough to live from this, honestly. And second of all, there's more in life than just fighting. I'm 36 years old. One day my career will end and I have to have another career because the bills have to be paid. And I love what I do. I love helping people. That I believe honestly that is a part of me being in this world. And that's a part of my life. I just love helping people. And I will always continue to do that. And there is a life after fighting, before and after fighting. And I don't mind my job. For me, fighting, honestly, is truly a hobby. And I love giving back to the community. For me, it's very important people can live free and in safety. And if I can contribute just a tiny bit to that, I'm blessed. And I will continue to do my job.
I understand that and I respect that very much. Thank you for your service. I've always wanted to ask you this since you dropped the quote. You said for a while after the featherweight title stuff that you were on probation. Have they, do you still have to check in with your officer? Do you feel like you are 100% free, Officer De Randamie?
I'm still on probation, sir, because I'm not even the co-main event. Even I'm the number ranked fighter in the world. Yeah, I'm still a little bit on probation, I believe, and I think I will be on probation for the rest of my life. Well, not the rest of my life, for as long as I'll fight, honestly. But I don't care. I honestly don't care because I enjoy what I do, and I get a lot of love and respect from the fans. And, it's all about doing what you love to do. So it's whatever it is.
My final question, a lot of people feel like in December, Amanda Nunes could be on the verge of shutting down the featherweight division. Just out of curiosity, has the UFC ever since, you've been back, offered you a fight at 145 or talked to you about it?
Yeah, we have talked about it a little bit. We have talked, not very intense because they know what I've said about it. And they took my belt and, they took it. So there's not much to say. Nobody took it from me. The UFC took my belt. So there's not a lot to say about it. What I do believe is, there's not a lot of girls at 145. And I think to make that division interesting, you should be at 135, not at 145. They should sign more girls at 145 for the division to be more interesting. And, maybe they will do that and make it an interesting weight division. For now, I think there's still a lot of fight left in 135 division.
Thanks, Germaine.
Thank you.
We'll take our last set of questions from Cote Cruz with For the Win podcast.
Hi, Germaine, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, nice talking to you. I'm speaking to you live from Santiago, Chile. Thank you for being with us today.
How cool. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so stoked that you like the reference to South America. Is this a place you want to come sometime?
I've been to South America a couple times already, but hell yeah, I want to come back. No problem. Yeah, I'd love to. I love it.
Oh, great. So we'll be waiting here for you in Chile.
How cool. I'll definitely have to come visit you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. We had the best wine. So if you're into it, we'll get to throw it out. So we'll get straight to business because
it's gonna be fun.
yeah, you said earlier about the time difference and being with this situation of getting punched in the face, giving away some punishment, and then having breakfast.
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep it kosher right now. It's still too early.
Okay.
You said about your former opponents that you feel like the game plan that's being presented against you is the same old plan everyone brings, right? In that regard, what are your thoughts about your opponent, Juliana Peña, who has a really heavy wrestling-based game? Do you believe she has a diverse skill set to do something other than wrestling? What's your opinion on that?
No, she's gonna shoot. We've seen it with Amanda. I mean, Amanda should have been the great striker that knocks everybody out. She took the shot, and she stayed down there. She didn't want to fight. Juliana Pena is going to do exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing.
That level of confidence is something to behold. That's what they call the Iron Lady.
You know, it's not just a level of confidence, man. It's a fact. Even Holly tried to take a shot on me a couple of times. You know, it's a fact. They don't want to stand and bang. So, and Juliana Pena has no difference.
Fair enough. I want to take you to the law enforcement side of your career. You've said it before that it's something that doesn't always pay your bills, but you have this desire to help people and make a difference in the world, right? So
No. That pays my bills. Fighting doesn't pay my bills. My work pays my bills.
Oh, okay. I mean, I wanted to say that they go hand in hand with each other. That's what I was trying to say. So,
Okay.
as a law enforcement officer, given that this world is currently in a really crazy state, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on what's happening in different parts of the world regarding police brutality? What's your stance on that? Do you have any thoughts on it?
Well, honestly, I'm really not busy with everything else going on. You know, I think we have our job in the Netherlands is tough enough so far, and we try to help people. And as far as I can speak for myself, I will treat everybody with respect and dignity. You know, I'm not responsible for what other people do. My team and I can say we do our best to help everybody we can. I've never used violence in my whole police career, and I hope I will never use violence. I will treat people the way I want to be treated, and that will never change. And I will treat people with respect and dignity. And that's all I can say about it.
Spoken like a true champ, ma'am. I appreciate your time. I wish you the best of luck on your fight, and I'm really hoping that you announce your trip to Chile. I'll get you sorted out, no problem. Have a great,
thank you so
fight
much.
day.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.
You too.
That's all we have for you today, Germaine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we'll be joined by UFC welterweight McGee. We are now joined by UFC welterweight Cord McGee. Our first question goes to Jade Anderson with Cage Side Press.
Hey, Court, welcome back. It's been almost a year since we last saw you in the cage, and I'm just wondering, I mean, you're sitting on the outside, kind of looking at all the craziness going on in the world, and then fights get back underway. I mean, have you been eager to get back in? Were you taking the cautious approach? What was kind of your mindset with all this going on?
Well, I mean, it was definitely strange for everybody. For me, like in the fall, I had the wrestling season, so we were, and like COVID hadn't hit. There was some talk about it. So I was helping out with like the high school wrestling season with some high schools around, and then working with my oldest son, who's 13. And then it was like, okay, now it's, first of the year, it's fight time. And then COVID hit about a month later. And so everything was postponed. And then it was like, looking for a fight, matchups, trying to get it figured out how we're going to do training because all the gyms were closed. Traveling to Hackelman's or traveling to Mark Montoya's was kind of out of the question. And then also when I did get the call, it was like training was different, as in the majority of my practices were at my home. I have a small gym space at my home. I have weights. I have conditioning equipment. I have assault bikes and rowers. And so like the experience over the last, like I would say 10 months, not the month or two after the fight, was training as usual, but solo. So lots of kettlebell stuff, shadow boxing, shadow wrestling, conditioning, the strength training, the old school like prowler pushes and D-ball throws and farmer carries. So the training has went on really steady, but it's been solo. And then, it's like I had sporadic partners come to the house that I knew, had negative. And so it's been strange, but I've had 10 months of hard training. My weight got up higher than it's ever been. I was back up to 200 pounds. So it's like, and lots of heavy kettlebell stuff and heavy lifts. So the training has been really good, and I feel really good. But yeah, definitely strange. Strange for my family too, being quarantined for 4 or 5 months.
I think a lot of us feel you on the weight going up. With the training kind of going a little old school, does it kind of take you back to an earlier time in your career?
Yes. Like we would have old school every Saturday when we were at Hackelman's. And so I've kind of followed, it brings me back to like a little bit more strength training, because I was able to do strength training 3 times a week, and conditioning once or twice a week, and then some striking and some wrestling and a little bit of grappling. But like, it's really hard to do grappling by yourself. And so there's been like, up until the training camp started, 60 or 70 days ago, it was just, I guess you'd say it was just like strange, but it felt comfortable. And I felt like I was improving. And it felt good. And it did, like, especially the old school, out in my neighborhood, pushing a prowler, throwing 100-pound D-ball, farmer carries, and then the neighbors come out and wave. And I have one neighbor that jumps in with me sometimes. And it's just like, it did bring me back to like old Hackelman days. And I still go out there and I still get those practices in, but, it's like far and few between. So yeah, it did bring me back a little bit.
Really, just a few days ago now, we saw Ketlin Vieira come out and say, she didn't really feel safe fighting in the pandemic, but it was time to move on. I think your background is pretty well known. You're a guy who's had a brush with death. I mean, do you think about that kind of stuff? It does seem that the UFC has done a great job with the quarantine protocols and all the safety stuff, but is there that what if that kind of floats in the back of your mind at all?
Not at all. The only negative side to this experience is for the last couple of months while I've been training, I've had very specific partners. We've made sure to stay like separated from people. I haven't went into events. The speaking that I do has just all but stopped. So it's all Zoom stuff. I feel bad that I had to extra quarantine my sons. I have a 10-year-old son and a 13-year-old son. And it was like, if they had, night games with friends, we had to like the last 2 months, like tell them like, sorry, if dad gets sick, like we're not going to get paid. And so I feel like they've went without, but I feel safe. And here, I mean, I feel like we went on a bike ride yesterday or today, and me and Ramsey did. And it's like Chernobyl, like there's nobody there, or almost like the Truman Show. Like there's people who are working, but outside of that, there's no no general public. And then the testing is very, very strict. Quarantine for a couple of days, a 15-hour flight, quarantine for a couple of days, make sure it's safe. As soon as we're out of quarantine, we tested one more time to make sure everybody has masks on. There isn't a tremendous amount of people. And so I feel safe. I feel safe. And, I have a responsibility to take care of my family, and how I provide, like, the number one source of income for the last decade has been competing. So I have to do my job. I have to show up, and I have to. So, and I feel safe. Outside of going to get into a fight.
Of course, and you're going to do so against Carlos Condit. I mean, obviously, a big name in a division, regardless of the slump. I don't want to take anything away from him. Does that kind of name get you more excited ahead of this one, or do you just treat it like any other fight?
No. Well, I mean, as far as training goes and preparation, it's like every fight. Every fight that I've had has been the biggest, the most important fight. And I'm sure you've heard that a million times. And that's kind of the mindset I've had my entire career since day one and first fight. But outside of that, I remember feeling excitement getting an opportunity to fight Jeremy Horn, but that was in my first year of competition. And it was very different headspace. So I can't say I've ever been like, oh, I'm excited for this fight. And I know I've said it a couple of times, but maybe that wasn't being completely honest. I wouldn't say, and for me, fighting's not fun. Like, I don't come to get into a fight to have fun. I enjoy the training sometimes, but outside of that, like, I come to fight to get into a fight, to hurt you, to find a way to win, to find a way to beat you. And so I wouldn't say it's fun, but when I got the name Carlos Condit, I don't know that I've been excited for a fight, but I am excited for this fight. He'll bring it. He won't run away and run around the ring. He'll bring the fight. And I got into this to fight the best guys in the world. And Carlos Condit is one of the best guys in the world. And so not only is it a privilege and an honor, but man, he's a seasoned veteran. And anybody who knows MMA knows who Carlos Condit is. And I mean, once I posted that I was fighting Carlos, like, everybody's like, awesome, man. Like, and every other person's like, dude, like, he's my favorite fighter, but now I'm rooting for you, and it's just like, it's one of those things, man. It's going to be an excellent fight for the fans.
Absolutely. I think we're all excited for this one, so I wish you the best of luck on Saturday.
Hey, thanks, man.
Our next question goes to Gabriel Gonzalez with Kate Cyclists.
Hey, Court, can you just describe the emotions for this fight week? I mean, does it change it up because it's been a layoff? You're on Fight Island. It's Condit. I mean, does it feel like business as usual over there for you?
Business as usual in the training and preparation. Definitely the strangest fight week I've ever had, like the quarantine. But there is like the focus. There is nothing else to focus on but the fight. Like, there is zero distractions. And so I don't know. It's strange. Business as usual as far as training goes, but strange fight week. It's like we're in a city with no people. And so when you're, going through the, like, I don't know, that's strange. But the focus and the willingness to go out and compete at my best has never been as high as it is. So,
what's the toughest part? Is it the time zone over there training? Is it the fact that, being in the hotel quarantine, does it affect kind of your flow in terms of how you like to deal with fight week? What's the toughest part?
no, I wouldn't say there's a tough part. It's like, it is perfectly fitted to my training schedule. But in this training camp, it's like I've had practices in Utah at 11 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 5 p.m., and 7 p.m. And like here, my sleep schedule is 3 p.m. to like 11 p.m. And then I wake up and, I do a little shakeout at like 3 or 4 a.m. And then I do my hard workout at like 6 to 7 a.m. around my fight time. And so it's not the same schedule that I'm on sleep schedule in Utah and not the same training schedule, but those training times in Utah are very similar to where I was training before. It's just like a weird sleep schedule, but my willingness to as soon as I got off the plane, I did a workout and then I went to bed right at 3. I got it planned out as soon as I got here and I just did it. And so it falls right in line. I'm willing to go to any lengths to show up 100% on fight day. So nothing has changed in that, and I feel focused, and I know what I'm here for, and so the distraction or the lack of distraction doesn't matter. And I bring a lot of experience with all the fights that I've had, the different where I've fought injured, or I've had a tough training camp, or I've had a really good training camp, and or I had a really tough weight cut, and so I bring all those experiences, and I have comfort that no matter what I go through, I'll be okay. And with the training that I am very confident in the training that I've had in quarantine, out of quarantine, and the time in Vegas and the quarantine on this extended fight week. I'm ready. I'm ready to go to war. So I feel good.
I understand. I want to shift gears a little bit. They're bringing back The Ultimate Fighter. You obviously know what it's like to go through that and win. Do you have any advice for the new guys or girls who are going to be going through the show soon?
Yes. No matter what, don't ever give up. Get on your schedule and get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's life-changing.
I think nothing more needs to be said there. My final question, kind of the elephant in the room, but Court, we know that you're on a bit of a rough skid. No fighter likes to think about it, but very bluntly, do you feel like you're possibly fighting for your UFC job on Saturday?
I feel like I've been fighting for my job every fight that I've had in the UFC. I don't... it's like I've had 2 close decision losses, both exciting fights against great guys. Performance-wise, I show up and I bring it every time for all 20 or whatever fights I've had in the UFC and Ultimate Fighter House. I've fought the best guys in the world. I don't focus on the wins and the losses. They also, obviously they help motivate me to change little things and maybe change things mentally. And I feel like I've made those adjustments. But I don't try to dwell on, this could be the last. Every fight could be the last fight. Every training camp could be the last one. I've had 10 or 11 major surgeries. I could be one injury away from not being able to compete. And so it's I try not to dwell on those things because I think it hinders my training and my progress. But I just feel like I'm going to go out and give Carlos the best Court McGee that the world has ever seen.
Hey, thank you, Court. Good luck.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's all the time we have for you today, Court. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Up next, we'll be joined by UFC heavyweight Carlos Felipe. We are now joined by UFC heavyweight Carlos Felipe. Our first question goes to Gabriel Gonzalez with Gateside Press.
Hello, Carlos. The saying goes that you learn more from a loss than you do from a victory. Do you feel that's true going into this one?
Absolutely, yeah. I learned a lot about my last fight, and I make some adjustments, and I feel better than ever.
When you watched that fight, what did you go back to work on when you went to the gym?
I don't think it's about. It wasn't my mistake. It is. I have to give credit to my opponent. Yeah, Spivak tried to put to take me down 2 rounds. 2 rounds. I defended the takedown about 2 rounds. In the last, he take me down. So the credit is for him.
Do you expect Yorgan to fight differently also, since he is also coming off his first loss?
Yeah, I will be more aggressive this time. I will don't put in the hands of the judges.
We hear a lot about the travel restrictions. Out of curiosity, are you able to fly directly Brazil to Abu Dhabi, or do you have to stop in Vegas when you come to Fight Island?
No, in the last time is São Paulo to Abu Dhabi, but now it was São Paulo. We went to London. We make the quarantine in there, and I get my positive results and negative results. Sorry, and we came here from Abu Dhabi.
My final question, what do you think of Yorgan De Castro as an opponent?
I think he's a good opponent for me. I'm a striker, he's a striker. It will be a war. I think it will be the fight of the night for sure.
That's all I have. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, man.
That's all we have for you today, Carlos. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now joined by UFC heavyweight Yorgan De Castro. Our first question goes to How's fan with PP Sports.
Castro, how are you doing?
Very good, man. Thank you.
So the third game in the UFC and the first co-main event of yours. How ready is the Mad Titan?
I'm ready, my man. I'm ready to put on show Saturday night and prove why we win the co-main event. I think this is going to be a war, and I'm ready for it.
So striker versus striker. It must be a tough fight. So since after the latest defeat against Greg Hardy and saw your 5 a.m. tweet, which indicates how hard you work, any new game plan that you can review to us about how you're going to win the game?
I'm going to win because it's a striking match, as you say. I do believe I have more tools than him. I think he's a boxer. He's going to come with he come forward, throw punch, but I'm going to throw kicks, punch, knees, everything.
You know the Chinese fans miss your right hook. The right hook from the first match was so impressive.
Thank you. But I also have a couple one things in the toolbox. So I have left hook is as strong as the right one too. So I can't wait to put it out there.
Of course. So the final question for me is also asking by the Chinese fans. After winning this match, any plan to challenge the top 15?
I called someone out last time. I came short, so I don't really want to throw names out there. So now I'm going to take whatever UFC offer me. But I do want to do it Saturday. I want to make it impressive, and then just put myself out there and let UFC pick and choose what they want to do with me.
So good luck, man, and obrigado for the interview.
Thank you, my man. Nice Portuguese.
Our next question is from Gabriel Gonzalez with Gateside Press.
Hello, Yorgan. The last time we saw you was at the first event back in May in Florida. Now you're on Fight Island. How would you compare the experiences between the two?
Oh, the first one I think was a experience process. We were they just tried to get back, but it was awesome. Anyways, everything was great. But this time is top level. I mean, everything here in Fight Island is awesome.
You and Carlos are both coming off your first professional loss. I mean, do you expect him to fight a little differently? Because I'm assuming, like yourself, he's gone back to do work in the gym to improve from it.
What you can change in 3 months. We're gonna be the same. Just me and him are gonna be the same. We are striker. We're gonna go. If things get tough, we're gonna do what we do best, which throw punch. So this is gonna be a striking match.
For yourself, you've had a little more time since your fight. What did you go back to the gym to work on after you saw the fight?
I watched that fight probably one time, but I take a lot from that fight. I mean, I know now every fight from now on, I have to come with more than just one game plan. I have to come with a game plan A, B, C, so I got to be able to adapt and then put more things together. So this is the big league. I have to be able to perform as a big league.
My final question, we've heard a lot about the different kind of travel that people have had to do. Not everybody had a direct flight to Abu Dhabi. Can you explain what it was for yourself, like where you flew from and if you stopped anywhere?
Oh, yeah, we flew from Boston to Vegas. We did the test and we quarantined for 2 days in Vegas. Then we took another one to Vegas to Abu Dhabi, 15-hour. First class, amazing, and I love the trip.
Hey, thank you and best of luck.
Thank you, man.
We'll take our next question from Jay Anderson with Gateside Press.
Hey, thanks very much. And Yorgan, welcome back. Just a couple of quick ones for me. I mean, first of all, the last fight, there was so much focus on the Hardy fight because of who he is, his background and everything. I know there's still pressure to win against Carlos, of course, but is it nice to have all that kind of extra stuff gone from this?
I mean, that one was crazy because not just the pressure of Greg Hardy was the superstar, all the fans and the media and everybody around was put a lot of pressure on my shoulder, and I was the one to go down there and knock him out. Everybody want to see him out. And that was definitely a lot of pressure. I normally don't really care about the pressure. I mean, I'm going to fight anyway. It doesn't matter what is involved. But last time was a lot of pressure.
Definitely. And I read ahead of this one that you've changed up your training regimen a little. You've been doing some running. Was that in particular in response to that loss, or was that something you kind of wanted to bring into your training regardless?
Yeah, man, they normally say heavyweight shouldn't run because we are too big and going to be bad for your knees. But to me, running is the key. Keep me on the track, and for the cardio and for everything. I like running. I'm glad I have a teammate crazy as me to go run every time with me 3-4 times a week, and we're gonna show the improvement this Saturday.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. Best of luck.
Thank you, man.
That's all we have for you today, Yorgan. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Up next, we'll be joined by number 6 ranked UFC Women's Bantamweight, Irene Aldana. We're now joined by number 6 ranked UFC women's bantamweight, Irene Aldana. Our first question goes to Dave Anderson with Cage Side Press.
Thanks very much. And Irene, welcome back. We know that you obviously had quite the battle with COVID-19 recently. Reportedly, you even had some difficulties breathing. I'm just wanted to know, I mean, how bad did things get, and how has that impacted your ability to train for this camp?
Yeah, I had a really bad time, really, really bad time. I was feeling really sick, had almost all of the symptoms that they told us the COVID has. Couldn't breathe well. I couldn't smell anything. Couldn't taste food. I had headaches, a temperature. A lot of things happened, and yeah, I thought that health was first, and I decided to stay calm. I was trying to save the fight in that time, and when I was trying to train, and that made me feel even better, and I thought that I needed to rest, and just that was when I called the UFC and told them that I was positive COVID and I couldn't take the fight. And after that, the recovery was hard at the beginning because I got tired really fast in training. But after that, my body started to recover very well with all my team made a great work. My doctors, my physical trainers, my boxing trainers, everybody was doing a great job. So I could recover myself very well after that.
Well, definitely glad to hear you're feeling better. And you're obviously coming back in a big fight for the division. You're the 6th ranked fighter, I believe. Holly is 2nd. A lot of people are talking about this fight as a potential title eliminator. Do you think a win here makes you a lock for the next title shot?
Definitely. I'm sure this fight is taking me one step closer to the belt. It's definitely. She's the second number 2 ranked fighter that I'm going to be fighting. First was Ketlen in December, and now Holly. So I'm now fighting the greatest in the division, and I think winning this fight is going to make it clear that I'm next in line.
Now, the other side of that is that Amanda has a title defense coming up at 145 pounds later this year. That's going to be her 2nd straight fight at featherweight. Are you confident that she's going to return to bantamweight sometime soon so that you can have that bantamweight title fight, or are you worried that you might be waiting for a while?
Well, I hope so. She returns to 135 soon. I don't know what her plans are, and I respect her because, well, she has done enough. She has done great things. She has accomplished great things, and whatever she decides, I respect her. But if she comes back, will be an honor and a great challenge for me to be able to fight her. And if I win a fighter like Amanda, that will take me to the highest in as an athlete. So.
And last one for me, I mean, this is your first fight of 2020. It's also your first fight, I believe, in Abu Dhabi. What's the experience been for you on Fight Island so far? What's it been like?
This has been awesome. I'm prouder than ever to work in a company like the UFC. Dana White and everybody are making a great job. All the people that's in charge of this, the people in the hotel, all the Abu Dhabi, the persons that are living in Abu Dhabi, all the UFC staff, and they're doing a great job. This is a great experience. Iceland is beautiful, and well, everything has been so great. I'm enjoying it.
All right. Well, best of luck this weekend. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Our next question goes to Sumik Data with Sportskeeda. Sumik, your line has been unmuted.
Hello, Irene. Can you hear me?
Hi, sure.
How are you doing?
Good, and you?
I'm fine, thank you. So this will be your first main event in the UFC. You've spoken about your journey getting to your first main event. So what does it mean for you to headline against someone like Holm, who is a former champion?
Well, fighting Holly, it's a great challenge for me, and being able to fight the top of the division is challenging. It's a great experience, and just this makes me grow more as an athlete than ever. And I'm very motivated. I'm very happy to be here, and this is a great time for me to represent Mexico. I'm also proud to represent Mexico in this platform.
So this will be your first main event. It's in a big stage like the UFC Fight Island. But somewhere down, does it bother you that there won't be any fans in the arena, or is the feeling still the same?
Well, fans will be missed, definitely. I know if this fight in was in Mexico, it will be full arena. And if Mexican fans could be here, they will fly here. I know that. And the cheers of the people, of the fans in there, it's always motivated. It's always warm and cool to hear of all of them. But this that can happen, and they're gonna be missed. But we also have pros in these things, so I think I'm gonna be able to listen more to my corner. But I'm just focusing on the game plan, just focusing on the fight, and well, this definitely is going to be different. But I'm just here to do my job.
Okay, so the bantamweight division we know is very stacked right now. But do you think a win over a former champion in Holly puts you in prime position to challenge Amanda Nunes next?
Yeah, for sure. I think Amanda will be the next step, definitely.
Okay, and last question from me. Do you have any predictions for the fight? How do you see yourself winning this one?
Definitely. I see myself winning this fight. I see myself finishing this fight.
Okay, thank you so much, and good luck for your fight this weekend.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Carlos Contreras with Millennium.
Hola Irene, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, muy bien, ¿y tú?
Pues bien, bien. Aquí nada más quiero preguntarte cómo estás viviendo ya esto de ser estelar, de ya sentir obviamente el trato de un main event en el UFC.
Todo está increíble, estoy pasándola muy bien, la verdad, estoy disfrutando cada momento de estar aquí y todo está muy bien organizado, todos nos están tratando muy bien, todos están haciendo un excelente trabajo, tanto el staff de UFC como el staff del hotel. Todo está muy bien hecho, el protocolo de sanidad aquí con el tema del COVID está súper cuidado y estoy disfrutando mucho todo, estoy disfrutando mucho ser el evento principal. Y pues bueno, estoy muy enfocada y muy motivada para este sábado.
¿Te ayuda a convencerte esta situación, todas estas circunstancias, me imagino, de que estás lista para pelear por el título, de que estás lista para lo que sería estar en un pay-per-view con Ramanda o con quien sea la campeona en el momento que te toque?
Claro, estoy más que lista, estoy disfrutando mucho esto y puedo acostumbrarme al trato de ser un main event. Podría acostumbrarme definitivamente porque la estoy pasando muy bien y también la responsabilidad y el orgullo de poder tener esta plataforma y representar a México de esta manera en una empresa tan grande como lo es UFC es muy grande para mí.
Finalmente, de mi parte, es una pelea que la van a ver en México muchas personas. A mí, en lo particular, mucha gente me pregunta dónde la puedo ver. Obviamente, la transmisión de Fox Sports tiene acceso mucha gente. ¿Crees que es lo que necesitabas para que al fin, pues, una peleadora mexicana tenga este reconocimiento entre los atletas mexicanos? Porque tal vez el peleador de MMA, hombres y mujeres, no tienen ese reconocimiento, pero todavía es un poquito más el retraso con las peleadoras mexicanas, y hoy estás pues en la máxima plataforma en la que puede estar una peleadora mexicana.
Pues bueno, sí, por cultura nos llegó un poco tarde el deporte, ¿no? Estamos más acostumbrados al boxeo, estamos más acostumbrados a ver hombres peleando deportes de contacto. Es todavía un poco para algunas personas, creo que ya estamos mitad de mitad, creo que para algunas personas todavía es difícil ver a mujeres peleando dentro de un octágono y es un poco impactante, pero lo que he notado es que cuando las personas se meten un poco más a estudiar, a ver de qué se trata, a involucrarse un poco más en el deporte, se dan cuenta de todo lo que hay detrás. No solo son golpes, es toda la disciplina que hay detrás, y esto lo está haciendo muy interesante para muchas personas. Y pues bueno, tú sabes que a los mexicanos Nos encanta los deportes de contacto, nos encanta ese espíritu guerrero, ¿no? Que traemos en la sangre y nos gusta ver a dos personas dar su máximo en un ring, en un octágono. Y pues bueno, ser parte de esto es muy grande para mí, por lo menos tengo la plataforma, tengo la manera de darlo a conocer un poco más en México y pues espero seguir aportando con este deporte a México.
Muchas gracias, Irene. Que tengas una muy buena pelea el sábado.
Muchas gracias.
Our next question is from Alfredo Bush with Claro Sports.
Hola Irene, ¿cómo estás? Gusto en saludarte.
Un gusto.
Pues antes que nada quisiera preguntarte cómo la pasaste, ya lo decías en inglés, pero me gustaría que lo dijeras en español. ¿Qué tan complicado fueron esos meses después de que te contagiaste?
Sí, fue bastante complicado. Al principio la pasé muy mal. Realmente los síntomas fueron muy fuertes, la pasé muy, muy mal. Sí estaba muy enferma, calentura, dolor de cabeza, no podía oler, me dolía la piel, me cansaba muy rápido. Tuve un buen equipo con el que estuve trabajando de doctores, de mi equipo de entrenamiento, mis entrenadores físicos, que poco a poco me fueron ayudando a que recuperara mi condición física, que sanara al 100%. Y las primeras 2 semanas fueron un poco difíciles, el regresar a entrenar, regresar a un campamento completo. Al principio fue un poco difícil porque me cansaba muy rápido. Con el COVID te sientes exhausto con cualquier cosa. Una vez que ya había salido del COVID, aún así había un poco de secuelas. Me sentía muy cansada al principio, sí me llegué a asustar un poco, pero logré salir rápido. Solo fueron unos días difíciles al principio, pero mi cuerpo reaccionó muy bien. Creo que por mi mismo estilo de vida, mi cuerpo alcanzó a recuperarse bastante bien para tener un campamento al 100%.
Oye, y quienes estaban en tu entorno, ¿alguien más se contagió de tus compañeros de trabajo en el gimnasio? O sea, esa parte, ¿qué tan complicada también fue?
Solo mi entrenador, sí, porque pues bueno, estaba entrenando conmigo en ese momento, y ya solamente él.
Ok. Oye, ¿y cómo has visualizado la pelea, Irene? Porque pues te enfrentas a una mujer que predomina el box en ella y contigo también, ¿no? Es una quizás de las partes más importantes de tu juego. ¿Cómo imaginas la pelea del sábado?
Creo que va a ser una pelea muy dinámica en el área de pie, en el área de striking. Eso es lo que espero porque ambas tenemos estilos similares y a los dos nos encanta la pelea de pie, pero ambas podemos traer el factor sorpresa, ¿no? Ambas creo que estamos listas para si la pelea se va al piso, si se va a la lucha, si se va a la reja, que sabemos que muchas veces Holly la cambia su plan de pelea, a lo mejor a presionar contra la reja, a lo mejor a luchar un poco. Y yo también estoy lista para cualquier área. Siempre trato de hacer una peleadora lo más completa posible, tanto sea para defender otras áreas como para yo proponer en otras áreas.
Oye, al estar firmando los pósters y demás, ¿ya te cayó el 20 de que eres el main event de un evento de UFC?
Ya me cayó el 20, ya ahora sí ya me di cuenta que soy el main event, que soy la primera mexicana y que estoy haciendo historia ya con todas las personas, ¿no? que están haciendo énfasis en eso, y cada vez me siento más orgullosa de eso. Es más increíble esta experiencia que estoy viviendo y, como les digo, la estoy disfrutando porque no sé cuándo vuelva a pasar otra vez. Espero que sí, pero pues bueno, estoy aprovechando esto para aportar a México y para representar a México.
Finalmente, de mi parte, el que el UFC voltee a ver a ti, a las mujeres, a Alexa, además, ¿qué tan importante es?
Es increíble el hecho de que UFC esté apoyando no nomás a nosotras, a las mujeres en general. Cuando en algún momento Dana White dijo que no iba a haber mujeres en UFC y ahora estamos estelarizando carteleras dentro de la empresa, quiere decir, para mí significa que estoy trabajando en una empresa muy seria que nos trata a todos por igual. No hace a hombres más que mujeres, ni al revés. Creo que está siendo justo, y el hecho de que nos esté apoyando y haya volteado a ver nuestro gimnasio, a Alexa, a mí, que tanto hemos trabajado desde el principio, quiere decir que estamos haciendo las cosas bien. Creo que nuestro trabajo está hablando por sí solo, y pues bueno, esto es la recompensa de ello.
Perfecto, Irene, te agradezco mucho y que te vaya muy bien el sábado. Saludos.
Muchas gracias.
And we'll take our last set of questions from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Irene, you were talking about when you were stricken with COVID-19. I was curious, how scary that was for you, because you hear a lot that the disease doesn't really hurt healthy people or athletes, and obviously you're a tremendous athlete. Was it scary going through that?
For sure. I was taking care of myself very well. I was doing everything they asked to do. I didn't went out of my house for nothing. Months and months just staying in my home. I was cleaning everything every time. Just saw a few people just for my training camp, and I got it. So that makes us realize that this is a highly virus that we can get easily. You can get it so easily. You don't know where is it, and you can get it. And people are getting extra confidence because they think they are young, they are healthy, and they are not. They don't have any other disease. And well, that's not the case. I was healthy. I was eating good. I was on my top of my physical conditioning, and I got it. So that's why I took the decision to communicate that in my social media. Hey, I'm an athlete, and I'm healthy, and I got COVID, so you can have it too. So take care of you and take care of all the people around you.
Absolutely. You mentioned coming out of that, dealing with, because it is a problem with the lungs, with your breathing. How was it training for a 5-round fight after that? And how well prepared do you feel like you are now with your cardio and conditioning, going into a main event?
I'm struggled only really hard for like the first week when I was recovering and I was getting back to training, to full training camp. At the beginning was hard. I got tired really fast. And yeah, I got a little scared that, maybe I'm not going to make it. But I trust myself as an athlete, and I trust my team. And I knew that if my coaches tell me, I'm going to take you there, you're going to get it, you're going to be able to fight 10 rounds, I believe in them. And that's what happened. I'm ready. I'm at my 100% now.
And Irene, you're 5-1 in your last 6 fights, and the one loss was kind of a controversial one. What do you feel like has been the biggest difference for you in these last 6 fights, where you have, gotten so high in the rankings and really, shown such strong performances in your last 6 fights? What do you feel like has been the biggest difference for you?
Well, I took opportunities. I just took the opportunities. They called me, I took them. And this is my job. I'm here to fight. And I need to take advantage of time. I don't have time to lose because, well, I love what I do, and I love to keep learning and learning every day, and I'm still evolving. I'm a fighter that evolves with every fight, every time. I don't take long rest. I win or lose, I go back to the gym. The most time that I have been resting is like 2 weeks, most, and that's it. And I'm kind of obsessive to keep learning and to keep improving. And well, I have a great team also. I have a great coach that he's obsessed also with technique, with teaching us. And when you have that kind of team that is also obsessed with this, that's transmitted to you.
My last question. What do you expect out of Holly Holm in this fight? We all know she's a former champion, tremendous boxer, but we have seen, like her last fight with Raquel, a lot of clinch work, a lot of work against the cage, kind of grinding things down to a very slow pace. Like, what do you expect out of her in this fight when you face her on Saturday?
I expect her best version. I expect the best Holly ever. And I know she prepared well for this fight, and I know she takes me seriously, and she still wants to go for that belt. She's still chasing that, and I'm on her way, and she's on mine. So I respect her as a fighter. I like her, and she has done. I admire what she has done. She has done great things in the sport, but I'm really focused on this fight, to win this fight, and I'll do whatever it takes to win it. And well, I know she can bring whatever she wants to the table. She can wrestle, she can do jiu-jitsu, she can work in the cage, she can strike. So with this MMA, we have to be ready for every area.
Thank you, Irene.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for you today, Irene. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Up next, we will be joined by number 4 ranked UFC women's bantamweight, Juliana Peña. We are now joined by number 4 ranked UFC women's bantamweight, Juliana Peña. Our first question goes to Jay Anderson with Cage Side Press.
Hey, thanks very much. Welcome back, Julia. You were originally, I believe, supposed to return in March. You were forced out of the fight. The event never happened anyways due to the pandemic. What have the months since then been like for you?
My name is Juliana, and the months have been, that's okay. The months have been great. You know, the gym shut down for 14 days. Everybody got tested for COVID and training resumed as normal. So all has been well since the pandemic.
And I know some of the time off over the last few years, has been for the birth of your daughter. You also had the knee injury. Is the goal moving forward here to kind of stay busy and really start to put a run together?
Yes, I've been putting a run on since I won the Ultimate Fighter. I've only dropped one. I've been around in the division since 2013. And of course, having a daughter and injuries have kept me away, but, you know, that's the circle of life. Injuries and having a life outside of the cage is the nature of the beast. And, you know, here I am ready to fight again.
And having a daughter, I mean, we talk a lot about Dad Cerrone and some of the other fighters who have had children over the last few years. Do you find that that is extra motivation for you in terms of having something else to fight for?
Definitely. You know, I want to be able to give my daughter an example to follow. Sometimes, you know, you give your kids all the advice in the world, but at the end of the day, what they're going to follow is your example. I want to give the example to my daughter that you can literally do anything that you set your mind to. And if she sees me working hard and reaching for my goals, then of course she is going to feel empowered to do the same in her life.
Now, going into this, you are fighting the number 1 ranked bantamweight in Germaine here. She's coming off the title fight against Amanda. I know a lot of people are looking at the main event here like a title eliminator, but do you feel you could jump the line with a big performance against Germaine?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. I feel like I'm the only clear-cut answer as far as titles are concerned. You know, Amanda and I are going to fight either way, one way or the other. And albeit, God willing, I get my hand raised against Germaine. I feel like I'm the only one that should be in the title talks.
All right, well, looking forward to the bout this weekend. Last question for me. Obviously, this is your first fight of 2020, so your first Fight Island experience. What's it been like so far for you?
Abu Dhabi's been great. They've been treating us like royalty. I have nothing but good things to say. I'm happy to be here. It's a place that I've always wanted to go that I can check off my bucket list. And, you know, I'm so happy that MMA has granted me the opportunity to travel all over the world. So I can't really say enough good things about it. And it's an honor to be here and to be making history fighting here.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Julia. And best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Carlos Contreras with Millennium.
Hi, Juliana. I wanted to ask you, fighters always respected your ground game, but I know you've been training with coach Mike Bayev for the last couple of camps. So how much would you say he improved your striking, and how comfortable you feel against someone like Germaine, who's obviously respected for her striking?
Yes, Mike Valle definitely has improved my striking. I think in my last fight, I stood more than I ever have in any of my fights. And you can see those improvements going forward on Saturday night as well. With that being said, my training partner was an inch taller than Germaine, and I definitely think I will be well prepared to fight against her.
And obviously, you're from a Venezuelan, from a Venezuelan family. How you feel to see like guys from like Omar Morales, other Venezuelan fighters now, being having success in the UFC?
It makes my heart very warm. The more Venezuelan fighters, the better. I think that, Viva Venezuela, and I think it just makes the country proud. I know that it makes my family proud, and I can only imagine that it makes their families just as proud to see them winning in the octagon, definitely. And I'm happy for them.
Gracias, Juliana.
De nada. Gracias a ti.
Our next question is from Gabe Pengelangen with Dojo Drifter.
Hello, Juliana, the Venezuelan vixen, Peña. How are you doing?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing good. My name is Gab, though, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing great.
You said Dave. I heard Dave. Somebody said Dave.
Well, we could run with Dave for now. Given that, you're coming off a win over the former flyweight champ, Nico Montano, did you learn anything about yourself from that fight that, you've taken with you into training camp and into this next fight?
Yes, definitely. I think I got my eye swollen shut there in the first round. And after that happened, I was like, hey, geez, okay, we're fighting. All right. Like, if that's what we're going to do, then that's what we're going to do. So I definitely think that, always being aware, tense, and in the zone and your surroundings is definitely important. And I can't at all for a second let up in that.
Yeah, and I just actually noticed that given that you and Germaine are ranked higher than Irene and Holly, respectively, are you surprised at all that you and Germaine aren't the main event for this event?
I just do as I'm told. They told me they want me to fight Germaine, and I'm fighting Germaine. If they want me to fight her 3 rounds, 5 rounds, 25 rounds, whatever, I'm always game and I'm always ready to fight. And that's the bottom line. I'm going to be fighting, and I'm happy to be fighting. So whether it's 3 rounds, 5 rounds, whatever, the point is that I'm fighting the number 1 contender again. And, all the people that I've been fighting in the past have been in the top 5. I haven't fought anybody out of the top 5. So once again, I'm fighting the toughest competition in the division, and I welcome and embrace the challenge.
Awesome. And do you care at all that Holm and Aldana are fighting on the same card? Do you think that the winner of that fight could kind of disrupt your title aspirations?
No, I'm not concerned about anybody other than myself, and it's important not to compare yourself to others. I know that the main task that I have in front of me is Germaine, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse. My job is to do whatever it takes to get my hand raised on Saturday night, and that is my main and sole focus.
All right, that sounds awesome. Best of luck to you, ma'am. We'll be tuning in.
We'll take our next question from Pablo Santamaria with Noti MMA Ecuador.
Hi, Juliana. Can you hear me? Okay. The first thing I want to ask you is, how has been your experience on Fight Island?
My experience on Fight Island has been amazing. There's like 12 pools to choose from. The food's fantastic. Everything has gone so far according to plan, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be making history, and fighting in a different country is definitely something that I wanted to do and check off the bucket list. So it's an honor, and I can't say enough good things about it.
Okay, I get it. So what are your thoughts about your opponent, Germaine? What do you think are his main strengths?
I think Germaine's main strengths are definitely her striking. She is a fantastic striker. She's a former world champion for a reason. And I definitely think that, she's going to be the toughest fight that I've had to date.
Okay, so if you get the W, do you think you will be the next challenger for Amanda?
If I get the W, I definitely think that I will be the next challenger for Amanda. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And would you like to send a message to your Latin American fans?
Gracias por, ¿cómo se dice? Support.
Apoyo.
Apoyo. Gracias por apoyarme. Lo siento.
Okay, muchas gracias and good luck on your fight.
Gracias a ti.
That's all the time we have for you today, Juliana. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we will be joined by UFC welterweight Carlos Condit. We are now joined by UFC welterweight Carlos Condit. Our first question goes to Jay Anderson with Cage Side Press.
Thanks very much. Carlos, it's been a while since we saw you, and I know a lot of fighters have gone through this, but transitioning from your last fight in front of a crowd to fighting in Abu Dhabi in an empty arena with all the restrictions and masks and social distancing, what has that process been like for you?
It's been interesting, but I've seen lots of different things throughout my career, and when it comes down to it, I have a guy across the cage that's going to come and try to take my head off, and I got to try to take his off first, and that's really what it boils down to.
Jackson Wink is obviously a well-oiled machine at this point, but how has your training camp been impacted by the pandemic?
Well, so a lot of gyms were closed, and I was kind of quarantining and distancing. So I was training on my own quite a bit at my house. So I had to get kind of a small group of training partners that I could, trust, and hopefully we weren't going to be passing the corona around by breathing heavily into each other's faces while we were fighting.
Fair enough. Court McGee here is a veteran himself, obviously a durable opponent. So just give us your thoughts, first of all, on the matchup.
I'm excited about the matchup for sure. I think Court brings it every single time. He's well-rounded, comes from a great camp, got a great skill set, and I think we're going to put on a hell of a fight.
One of the things that he said earlier is that he's excited for this matchup, and he normally doesn't get excited when he learns his opponent's name. When you hear something like that, what does that mean to you?
I think, honestly, I think this fight's going to be special. We're both a couple of dudes that are passionate about fighting, and I think just style-wise and the way that we approach the game, I think this is going to be an interesting fight. And I think it's going to be something to watch.
Now, obviously, a few factors here. I mean, the time away and the fact that you haven't won for a while. Don't want to make too much about it, but I mean, heading into this fight, having lost 5 straight, I mean, do you view this as a must-win in terms of continuing on in your career?
I don't know as far as continuing on in my career, but I don't know. UFC's probably going to get sick of me, not showing up. So I should probably win. But I'm not. I put in the work. I did the preparation, and I'm going to go out there and show up, and I'm confident that I'm going to come away with the win.
Outside of the cage, you kind of ventured into the apparel business recently, and I know you've done the coffee thing before as well. That sort of entrepreneurial side of you, is that something you want to embrace more as you get closer to the end of your career?
Yeah, for a number of reasons. It's given me a different direction to grow and to think. I've been ultra focused on being a professional martial artist for my entire adult life, and there's a lot to learn, lot to experience, but expanding in that direction is it's been fun. It's been new and exciting because I have to learn and develop in a different way.
All right, and last one for me. This is just kind of not anything to do with anything, but you've trained with John Jones. You fought GSP. Those are 2 of the main picks a lot of people would say for greatest of all time. Do you have a choice in that debate?
Oh, as far as who's the greatest?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, you're putting me on the spot. I think John has, because of the era that John fought in and the opponents, I think I'll have to lean towards John.
Fair enough, man. Well, good to see you back. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
We'll take our next question from Dayton Martin with MMA Fighting.
Carlos, what's up, buddy? Obviously, every fight is a big fight. And you've gone through the hills and valleys of an MMA career, your whole career. But does coming off a few tough losses, raise the stakes in a fight like this? I don't want to say do or die or those kind of like, trigger words, but do you feel like this is kind of like that must-win situation for you?
I think it's must win in the sense that if I lose, it's going to hurt really bad and suck. But, I'm not really attached to like, oh, this is like, it's like this is a doomsday scenario for my career. I think that's putting too much pressure on things that I can't control. I prepared thoroughly and rigorously for the fight, and I think I got my head straight, and those are the things those are the things that I'm in control of, and I know that if I go out there and compete to the best of my ability, that I walk away with a win in this one, and if I win, I think that there's a lot to be said if I go out and put on a good show.
Absolutely. You were going to fight Mickey Gall last year, and I know obviously that one didn't come together. I know you've never been a guy to really handpick opponents or say, I want this guy over that guy. Was Court McGee literally just the fight they offered and you accepted? Was there any talk about any other opponents, or was this just, that's the guy, and you said yes?
Well, initially when they mentioned Court, I like Court, and we've kind of, kind of have a whatever, like a rapport. And I was like, well, is there anybody else? But like 5 minutes later, I'm like, you know what, fuck it, let's do the fight. Let's make some money. It's it's work. It doesn't really matter. Basically that's the only name that got offered.
You've never been a guy to really get into the personal side of fighting. You're not really the trash talk guy. You just go out there and fight and perform, and we all know what a Carlos Condit fight is going to look like. But when you face a guy like Court, who is so respectful and a nice guy, and as you said, obviously a guy does it just kind of take all the other stuff out of it, all the other elements of the fight? You just go in there and fight and know it's going to be fun to fight a good fighter.
Yeah, but like on the other side of that, yeah, he's a nice guy and he's all friendly and stuff, but he's a savage and he's going to come out and try to knock my teeth out. So, there's still a little bit of an edge.
I know in the lead up, there's been a lot of talk about the possibility of after this, when everything goes well on Saturday, facing off with Nick Diaz. He's coming back. I want to ask about Nick, but I also want to ask about the Matt Brown fight. That's one that we've heard twice, didn't come together. I know Matt has said he really wanted that fight, and when the Mickey Gall fight got announced, he thought it was going to be you and him. I'll ask about those two fights. Are those two fights you'd still like to revisit Nick for the rematch and maybe finally get in there with Matt Brown?
Yes.
Thanks, Carlos.
We'll take our next set of questions from Gat Pangalangan with Dojo Drifter.
Hey Carlos, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing great. You mentioned earlier that you had to get your head straight. What does that mean, really? Were you dealing with any demons, like between fights or after your last fight?
Yeah, hell yeah. Always.
Yeah, go ahead. Feel free to expound.
No, I think that, I don't know, yeah. There's been a lot of different things that have been going on inside, pertaining to to training, and then my personal life. But yeah, I don't know. And in a lot of those fights, I felt like I was good, and then in the moment, just kind of, I don't know, things didn't come together.
Yeah, you've been in the game for a while and you've achieved some amazing things. Is it difficult finding motivation to keep fighting at such a high level?
No, as much as I know and as much as I've learned, there's still so much more and so far to grow. So that always keeps it new. Like I learn new stuff. I have an amazing coaching staff around me that, we're always creating new stuff, and the ability to go out there and showcase that is really exciting. So that's what motivates me.
Yeah, and I'm curious to your goal now. Is the goal to make another run at the title? Are you simply writing out your contract, or are you simply out to do what you love? What is your why right now?
My why is fighting because I love it and making some money and see where that takes me. I don't think that I'm past my prime. I've had a skid, but I feel like I can turn it around and make a run for sure.
Well, we look forward to that. We wish you the best of luck, sir. Thank you very much.
That's all the time we have for you today, Carlos. Thank you.
Well.
Up next, we'll be joined by number 2 ranked UFC Women's Bantamweight, Holly Holm. We are now joined by number 2 ranked UFC Women's Bantamweight, Holly Holm. Our first question goes to Gabriel Gonzalez with Cateside Press.
Hey, Holly, you've been in plenty of big fights before, but is there any extra excitement or emotions being on Fight Island and everything that's going on over there?
It's one of those things that it's a main event. I feel like there's always like a little extra pressure, but also I'm just honored to be able to be there and the belief to be able to kind of come in and do something great. So I'm excited to be here. I know there's not going to be
fans out there that I can hear, but I know there's millions of fans watching on TV, so I'm excited, and it's like a good pressure.
You've been clear about this in interviews already. You are still looking for another shot at the title and getting a belt back. Do you think that this is the one you need to get another shot at Amanda Nunes, or do you feel like they will have you fight an Aspen lad before you get another crack at it?
All I can do is do my best to fight and see what doors open for me. And all I know is that this fight is what I need to focus on and do my best in order. The better I do in the fight, that's the more promising for, title shot after that. So the best I can do in this fight is what's going to matter.
To shift gears a little bit, obviously Amanda is fighting Megan Anderson. You have experience fighting both of them. How do you see that one playing out?
They're both tall fighters. I mean, Megan's real tall. Definitely different styles. I mean, I always say anything can happen in there. I feel like Amanda's definitely going to, be victorious, but that doesn't mean something couldn't happen. Anybody has a puncher's chance.
People are wondering if Amanda wins, if that could be it for the 145 division for the ladies. You fought there twice before. Out of curiosity, has the UFC reached out to you about featherweight fights since the last time you went up?
I just train, and when the fight gets scheduled, I say, okay, my management kind of deals with that. So if they've talked about it, I couldn't tell you yes or no. I'm always open to either one. Yeah.
Quick side note, I know it hasn't aired yet, but who did better on Celebrity Family Feud, you or Karate Hottie?
Oh, I'd say it's a draw on that one. I don't know. I'm going to say Karate Hottie.
Final question. What does Irene Aldana bring as an opponent?
She's tough. She's gritty. She's tall. She's got long reach. She's well-rounded. She's comfortable on her feet, comfortable on the ground. So I better be ready, and I am.
Thanks, Holly.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Holly. Obviously, this fight was originally scheduled in August, and I know you can't control COVID-19 or your opponent getting sick or anything, but how is that for you, dealing with, basically going through an entire training camp and then having to stop? And I heard you kind of went to the mountains and just got away from it all and then coming back to how is that whole process? Because it's kind of a weird thing, it's basically a 2-month delay and going through essentially 2 different training camps.
It was the last week of training too, and I actually had talked to some friends that live up in Colorado, and I was like, man, after my fight, I'm craving the mountains. I need to get up there. So after my fight, I'm going to call you. And then literally the day that my fight got postponed, I thought, I know they're going to reschedule this fairly quickly. So, going through an entire camp physically and mentally, I knew I needed a break before I was going to jump back into it again. So I actually called that day. I said, hey, so instead of coming after my fight, I'm just going to come right now. So I love to be up in the mountains and just be away from things. Kind of refreshing for the soul. And even when I got back, I was only there for just under a week. I got back, I still kind of just had a little time with my friends, things that you kind of put aside when you have a fight camp. You can't make it to that happy hour with your friends or go hang out, kind of chat when you have to be at the gym training. So I enjoyed some time with friends and family. With some light training before I really jump back in.
Was it always Irene Aldana, as soon as the fight got postponed, you said you thought it was going to get rescheduled. Obviously, we hear all the time fighters jumping in, short notice fights, different opponents. Obviously, you got Germaine and Juliana fighting this card. Maybe was it always Irene, or did you think about taking anybody else, or did you have your focus stayed on Irene?
Honestly, that's just those. After the fight, that conversation kind of more was just my management and my coach, Michael. At first, they I think even had said, well, who else is out there right now that can take the fight? And, that was kind of the talk once we found out that it was canceled. And nobody really, they didn't really have anybody kind of just to throw last minute because it was the last week of training. But it was one of those things that rather than just like force something else for the time too, it was like, well, or just reschedule it. It just kind of was something that was just kind of, well, let's reschedule and fight as is because it's a good match.
And Holly, obviously, going into the fight, there's been a lot of talk about Irene potentially fighting for a title if she can beat you. But even though, you're the number 2 ranked fighter in the division, you fought for the title, you've been the champion, it always feels like the spotlight is on you. The headlines are about you because you are the former champion, because you are that ranking. How do you deal with that? I mean, is that something you just learn to embrace? You just kind of let it roll off your shoulders, that there's always going to be that spotlight on you, the expectation on you? Like, how have you learned to deal with that?
It honestly gives me heartache because I know that there is a lot of belief in me by a lot of people. There's a pressure that comes with certain things, but that's also what makes this sport so great. I feel like I'm alive. I'm feeling life, and I would rather things be expected of me or rather have pressure put on me because that means that there's a reason why that is the case, rather than people that didn't care or didn't want to watch or no pressure. So if I had it I wouldn't have it in any other way. Just makes me want to do my best. It makes me want to win so that all this belief in me is worthwhile. It's worth something.
And last question, I spoke to your coach, Mike Winklejohn, after the Amanda Nunes fight, and he had said that one thing that separates you from a lot of other fighters is one loss will never define you. One loss will never deter you from your ultimate goal. You're going to get back in there with that same fire, that same hunger every single time. Do you feel like that is a big part of who you are? Coming off that Raquel fight, going into this one, building back towards that title shot, that one loss is never going to knock you off your long-term goal, because he said that's a big difference between you and anybody else. You don't get discouraged. You come back, even more hungry, even more fired up.
Yes. I've not just in MMA but in boxing, I've been knocked out cold and had to come back. And if a fighter's never been there, it's definitely probably one of the hardest things to deal with. You start to self-doubt. Am I going to get knocked out again? Am I really that good? There's all these questions that fighters probably don't want to admit that they actually ask them. But it's even to get back in and spar for a while, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can actually spar. I'm all right. Kind of build that back up and take a fight. Yeah, I believe I can do it. And it's like, am I telling myself I think I can do it, or do I really think I can do it? And there's a lot of demons you can battle in your own mind. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that you can feed yourself whatever motivation you want. If you keep questioning yourself, then it's going to come out in your performance. You don't believe in yourself and you're the one who has to go in there and fight, then how do you think you're going to win? You always have to believe you can do it. And if there's ever a time I don't think I can do it, is the day that I need to retire. So, setbacks doesn't necessarily mean that it's done. And a lot of people at this point in my career are like, oh, have you thought about retiring? You had the belt, you lost it, you were already 38, you're old. Well, I'm still ranked right up at the top for a reason. And so what I want to keep doing is make that belief. I want people to believe in me. So I need to make the best performance that I can, so that they can see why I'm still doing this, why I'm still passionate about it, and why I believe in myself.
Thank you, Holly.
We'll take our next set of questions from Hausi Fan with PP Sports.
Hardy, how are you doing?
How's it going?
I'm good, thank you very much. And let's talk about your experience in the Fire Island so far. Was it good?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, it's I think in this life right now, there's a lot of things that are challenging. And for a challenging time, it's definitely been as pleasant as can be, Everybody here has been great. The help has been great. Be able to have the opportunity to still fight and have everybody here that, has put their their hard work together so that we can make this happen. Very thankful for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. And so, since most of the people are talking about this match and thinking as a title eliminator, so what do you expect from your opponent, especially after her COVID-19 incident? Will that affect her performance?
I think that she's going to be just fine. She's going to go in there. She wouldn't have taken the fight if she didn't feel good and ready. You know, I'm not ever going to walk in there and think, oh, hopefully, you know, maybe she's not coming as her best game. I truly feel that I'm getting her at her best game, at her A game. So I need to be ready for that, and I am ready for it.
Fair enough. So as the most experienced fighter in the octagon that night, fighting in Abu Dhabi is your first time. The time difference, the cage size, and the temperature, all those factors are different. And there's no gentleman singing a love song to you in the pre-game conference. Will that affect your performance? And how will your experience deal with those issues in order for you to get big W that night?
You know, we're all in the same boat. We're all fighting in the middle of those early morning hours. We're all having to be, you know, in a different time zone. We're all having to fight with no fans in the stands. So we're all in the same boat. At the end of the day, when I get in there, it's still me standing across from my opponent. And at that point, I want to win, regardless.
Thank you very much. And then October 17th, your birthday is coming up pretty soon. Do you have any celebration plan after you win in this match? Or are you just focusing on this one? Yeah.
I actually plan on going on a little weekend trip with my friends.
Any more detail you want to share?
No, I don't want to tell everybody where I'm going to be.
All right, good. So, so last question for you is, since you talked about retirement earlier in that questions, beyond UFC, what do you expect you to do in the future? Like another action movie, maybe?
You know, whatever doors open, whenever I'm done fighting, I'll take the opportunities and do the best I can with them. Right now, I'm just focused on fighting, and hopefully through this career, maybe there'll be open doors for someone else.
So thank you very much. You're a true champion, and I wish you all the best this weekend. Thank you very much.
And we'll take our last set of questions from Gad Pangalangan with Dojo Drifter.
Holly, so we saw you kick the year off with a victory, but things all around have been kind of crazy. How has 2020 been like for you?
2020 has been wild. You know, I think everybody can say that. I don't think anybody doesn't kind of sense a little bit of a kind of different kind of year, you know. For me, it's been pretty, I try and keep it as normal as I can. My heart goes out to a lot of those that not only have had to deal with COVID, but just, you know, it's not just the actual virus itself, but it's businesses that are closing. It's people that are having a hard time at home. It's kids that are having a hard time with school. And there's just a lot going on right now. So for me personally and directly, I've been able to train for the most part. I've been able to doing what I love to do. My family's healthy, so I'm very fortunate. And for me, I've just kind of, my thoughts more are going out to those who have really been directly affected by the pandemic. So, you know, always just hope the best, and always hope we can get back to full functioning everywhere, all over this world.
Yeah, so craziness aside, you find yourself now on Fight Island. How does it feel to be there with your team, especially? Like, is this all a great experience for the team?
You know, I feel so fortunate and so blessed to have such a great team that will fly across the world with me because they believe in me to go do something great. So that's just something that I can never put into words how much I really appreciate my. It actually puts pressure on me. I don't want them to come all the way over here and be having to go home with a loss. It's pressure in a good way, though, because I just want to be able to give back to them what they've given to me. They've given me their knowledge. They've given me their time. So I want to give that victory back to them. I want to make it all worth it.
And you mentioned pressure, but I've noticed that you seem to just shrug off pressure like it's just another main event, it's just another fight. Is that something that you've developed over the years, all these years competing?
I mean, I get super nervous. I get super anxious for fights. But I think that you have to have a certain personality to be able to kind of go in there and do what we do. You're very vulnerable in there. You're totally exposed in front of millions all over the world, and so it's kind of one of those things that you have to be okay being vulnerable. You have to kind of a liberating feeling walking in there. You got to walk in there and just say, you just got to let go. You know what? A lot of pressure here. There's a lot of people watching here, but I'm here. I signed up for it. So you just gotta kind of let it go and do the best you can in those situations. Because you're in moments like that, you're also inches away from greatness. It's exciting. So I wouldn't have it any other way. I love to feel that I really live life.
That's awesome. And lastly, for me, will we be seeing your famous backflip after this weekend's fight?
That means victory, so absolutely.
Well, we look forward to that. Best of luck. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for you today, Holly. Thank you.
Thank you.
This concludes the UFC Fight Night Holm vs. Aldana Virtual Media Day. We would like to thank everyone for joining today's event. UFC Fight Night Holm vs. Aldana takes place this Saturday, October 3rd from UFC Fight Island on Abu Dhabi's Yas Island. The main card will begin at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus, with the prelims exclusively on ESPN Plus at 7:30 p.m. Eastern.